Hello, authors, book lovers, and storytellers. Welcome to RM Hive, a Reader's Magnet featured author interview. This is Kior, and I'm your host for today's episode. And today's guest is a native of Oakland, Rhode Island, graduated from Burrillville High School in 1958. After many years, she reignited her passion for writing by enrolling in an evening course in creative writing, which sparked her interest in poetry. At the age of 72, she embraced her calling as an author and began crafting stories set in fantastical realms. This journey culminated her debut novel, The Elves of Valin, Belin's Adventures, showcasing her talent for weaving enchanting tales that inspire readers of all ages. Let us all welcome Lydia Joan Croteau. Hi, Lydia.
Hi, how are you today?
I'm doing fantastic. How about yourself?
I'm doing fantastic too.
I'm glad to hear that. Okay, now I know I've given our audience an idea of who Lydia Croteau is, but can you tell us more, of who Lydia Joan Croteau is, please?
Oh, yes. I was born in Providence, Rhode Island in 1940, October 18, 1940. I have a twin sister. Her name is Laura Jean, and
Wow.
I was named Lydia Joan after our grandparents. I have four children. Um, my oldest one is Eddie. He's 62. Michael is 61. Alan is 56 and Melissa is 54. And they all live out of state.
I, w- I wonder how is it living, living like having a twin sister.
Well, she passed away recently. She passed away in April. Um, it was a very, very sad event for me. Uh, but she had been sick for quite a while. When we were growing up, we were always together, always. We were like this. Nobody could separate us. We liked the same things. We did the same things. We teased each other the same way.
Mhm.
And then the separations came when we got married. And it's very hard for twins when they finally get separated. It really is because you have that urge that you want to be with them. I
Mhm.
was fortunate enough that I worked at Blue, BA Blue Jewelry in Providence, and she worked there too. So we got to see each other during the day. But then they moved to New Mexico, and I'm still in Rhode Island. So yeah,
Yeah.
it was a lot of telephone calls.
Was
Oh,
she one of the inspirations behind the Elves of Valin?
actually, no,
Oh,
no. I never
okay.
knew how much we looked alike until after I really took a good look at the last time we were together and the picture that her son had taken. And wow, if I had my hair cut short, I'd look just like a
All
would.
right. Um, Being a writer is basically it's totally different from from where you started, right? And you only started at the age of 72, correct? Again, where you
Yeah.
started crafting stories. So
Uh-huh.
what made you realize that you wanted to become a writer?
Actually, I never really considered myself a writer or an author until recently. But ever since I've been a child, I've liked to write. I used to write little stories for me and Jean. And in high school, I started writing poetry. I really liked poetry. I never
Mhm.
thought I never thought I'd be where I am today, you know. But I went to live with my. I got very sick when I was about 60 years old, and I couldn't care for myself, so I went to live with my cousin Joyce in Massachusetts. And that
Hmm.
was a beginning of a brand new life. It really was. We had so much fun. But in my illness, I would go out of myself and I'd go into this fantasy world. And at night, when Joyce got home from work, her and I would talk about it. And she got as much fun out of it as what I did. So she'd have me write down all these little stories. And then came the day where she says, Joan, you're not just going to write little stories. She said, you're doing a marvelous work. But she said, what I want you to do now is I want you to put them all in a book. I said, oh, you got to be kidding. She said, no. Well, that was the beginning of the Valen story, the book.
I
That was
see.
Valen. Yeah.
So that is where the idea of writing and publishing this book comes from.
Yes.
I
All those
see.
little stories that I used to share with Joyce. And
Let's talk about
go
yeah,
ahead.
go.
Talk about what?
Let's talk about the main character.
Oh, wow. The main character, her name is,
Introduce the main character of the book.
the main character is, her name is Beelin. And she's a halfling, half human and half elf. And in this world, in that world, um, when an elf married a human, they would have to go, they couldn't live in the land of Valen. They would have to go live in the world. And they
Hmm.
could have no more to do with Valen. And when the baby was born, the king of Valen would go to the baby and stifle all his giftedness. And if he looked like an elf, he'd change his face to look like he was human.
Oh.
And the children lived as humans all their lives. Well, with Beelin, she lost her birth father before she was born, so her mother went back to Valen to live with her parents to have the child. And the king of the elves gave her a choice to either stay there in Valen to raise the child or go to Oakland or Mapleville or one of the other towns. She decided to stay in Valen. Well, all at once, because nothing was stifled, all at once, before the age of 2, Beethoven started healing. And that threw the elfin community into a swing. But yes, they were on their farm, and her stepfather was delivering a baby calf, and she was down there with her mother. And when the calf was born, the calf looked like it was stillborn, so the stepfather didn't pay attention to it, paid attention just to the cow, the mother.
Hmm.
Well, Beeling crawled over to the calf and laid her hands on top of his head, and the mother saw the blue light come out of her hands and heal that calf. And then the little girl, she wasn't even 2, but she pointed her finger and she said, get up, get up, get up. And the calf rose. And that was the beginning of her healing abilities. She followed the line of her mother because her mother was a healer to the humans in the town of Oakland. So that's my B one. She started there and she progressed throughout her years. Before she was 7 years old, she had the abilities of all the elves that they had and even more. She was highly proclaimed a defender, of course, the healer. Um, she was an overseer like her stepfather. She just kept growing and growing and growing. So that's my dealing.
That's very interesting. I wonder, if how would I even able to manage if I have those superpowers, right?
I
Kids for sure would
know.
love to read them.
I know it's fantastic.
Yeah.
The thing is, um, she naturally grew up right into them. And the thing, being a halfling, being half human and half elf, she was more than human and she was more than elf. And she was working in two fields, which ended up confusing her to no end. But
Mm-hmm.
now I lost my train of thought. It was just marvelous how she goes from one activity and she goes into another. And, like in book two, that's book one. Book two, let me show you what it looks like if you can see
Yes,
it.
please go ahead and share.
Can you see it?
All right, there you go.
The Elves of Valen, Valen's Adventures. Oh, a fantastic book. She, one story that I really, really like from that book, and it proves some of her skills is her father was away on an overseas mission,
Mm-hmm.
and the king didn't have. The king was like, how do I say it? In the beginning, Mother Earth spoke to the kings of the old world. There was three or four of them, and he asked if one of the cast would come to the new world that Mother Earth needed help. So this cast went, and the others stayed in the old world. Um, Beelan, as she was growing up, she was only about 7, 8 years old when the king had all his elves out on different projects, and
Mm-hmm.
plus he knew her ability, so he called her and her mother to the palace, and the king, to break it down, the king asked her if she would be willing to go into the land of Ashland because the farmers, two of the farms have been experiencing a lot of difficulty. One night, um, all the eggs were taken in both farms, and the farmers found out in the morning when they went to collect them there wasn't an egg left. 2 days later, when they got up in the morning to milk the cows were all dry. There was no milk
Mm-hmm.
in the cows. So the farmers didn't know what was going on. The townspeople went looking around the farms and into the woods and into the mountains to see if they could see anything, and they didn't. So the king said to Beelan, I've told you all about the trouble on the farms. He said, I don't want you to do anything but go and see if you can find some clues as to what is going on. And he said to the mother, you can go with her because you can both stay in the inn together. That way you'll see Beetlin before she leaves and she'll come back with you at night.
Now, this is making more sense to me why the book comes in several editions, or not editions, but books, right? We have books one to,
And
how
I'm
many books
writing
do we
book
have?
three.
One to four?
I've got two books and I'm writing book three now.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
So it comes in three parts. Now
Mm.
it makes sense to me now. I wonder if the characters are based on actual people or are they fictional?
Oh, they're fictional. They're fictional.
Fictional. How
When
did you come up with those characters?
I really don't know. I'll be writing and I'll say, this doesn't sound right. I need something else in there. So
Mm-hmm.
I'll put in a different elf or another human. I'll do something to enliven it. Like this scene that I was telling you about. She
Yeah.
was supposed to only find clues because she was only like 7 years old. When she got there into Ashland, they told her that 4 boys had been missing. And she said, well, while I'm looking for clues, I'll look for the boys. Just a minute. Something's going on. There we go. So, in the long run, I'm not going to go through it. They can read the story. Anyway,
Yes. They better go ahead and grab a copy of the Elves of Velen,
right.
right?
She found the boys, and it was underground dwellers that had kidnapped the boys and were making the boys go out during the night to collect the eggs and the milk and also to do their hunting for them. So they didn't let them all go at once. They would let one or two go, and the other two would stay in a cage in their underground dwellings because that was their surety that the other two would come back.
Hmm.
Oh, it's a terrific story. It really is. I like that. That's one of my best ones.
Yes, for sure. A lot of kids and young adults there would really love this story. Now, I understand that this covers a lot of aspects and a lot of lessons to learn, but I
Right.
want to hear it from you. What exactly is the message that you would like to impart to readers? What
Well,
can we expect from this book? What lessons?
first of all, um, she learns at a very, very early age that you treat people the way you would want them to treat you.
Mm-hmm.
All my books go like that. Um, she's a very sensitive child, and she takes after her mother. She's very sensitive. Uh, she she speaks up for injustice, even
Mm-hmm.
as a little child. If something is wrong and she sees it, she'll bring it to the forefront. And I think that's a message for everybody. You don't just let things go by. You just don't dismiss it. You
Yes.
you bring it where it belongs. You bring it to the law if it's a crime. Um, if people are doing wrong to you, you wait till your spirit calms down and
Mm-hmm.
then you go speak with them. You know, I know I've had to do that a few times. So, and then when they won't listen, it's very easy to say, okay, stop what you're doing. You see that hand? Stop. No more. Bye. I've done that too.
All right. Okay. If you are to give um a one line for for those who are currently watching us live, if if you're going to come up with one line that will help inspire readers to to be more to go ahead and check this book, what would that line be?
That would be the one that I mentioned, treat others the way you want to be treated. You know, we're all human beings. We're all equal to one another. You can be a millionaire, but you know better than me. You're a millionaire and I'm a pauper, but so
Yeah.
what? You do your work. I've done my work for my years. Um, Beelin is a very meek and humble child. Now, I didn't say weak, I said meek. She knows who she is, she knows her strengths, she knows her weaknesses. And that's another thing we all should do is look within ourselves. What
Yes.
are our weaknesses? What are our strengths? What do we have to do to make ourselves better people?
Correct.
You know, if you see somebody on the street that looks down, just smile at them and say hi. You don't know what one smile can do. I live in a senior building. There's 126 tenements here in this building. When I was in the elevator one day, there was a lady and she was crying. And I said, "Can I help you?" She said, "No." She said, "I don't know if it was her father or." her mother, but one of her parents had died. She says, I'm going up to clean the apartment. I said, would you like some help? She said, no. I said, well, I live in apartment 215. If you
Mhm.
want some help, come on down and I'll help you. Well, it wasn't even a half hour past. She came down and she said, will you help me? I said, yeah. So I went help and packed some stuff with her and we talked and then I asked her if she would like me to say a little prayer with her. She said yes. So I did. So I met a new friend.
Wow.
And
Wow.
you know,
I would say, Lydia, healing comes or starts from within because you need to be healed first in order for you to heal someone else,
yes,
right? Because you cannot be productive and you cannot be efficient in helping others, in healing others, if you yourself is broken, right?
that's right.
Lydia,
That's right.
thank you so much for your time. It's fun. I'm having a blast. And yes, thank you so much. And please do promote your book. Where can our viewers purchase a copy? Take the floor.
Actually, they can, let me put up my second book again.
Yes, please
You
share it.
know, they made the cover themselves. I just told them I want to have a fall scene in it, and they created it. Isn't it fantastic? Yes. Um, they can purchase the book at Reader's Magnet in their bookstore. They can purchase it at Barnes and Nobles and also Amazon.
All right. Again, everyone, the author of The Elves of Valen, Lydia Joan Croteau. Book is available on Amazon and in Barnes and Noble. Make sure to grab a copy right now. Lydia, thank you so much.
Thank you. This was a pleasure.
All right. As we say here in Reader's Magnet, we share your story with the world.